This is NuMediaTV in London. Live stream with confidence. On this channel, we tell stories through digital content in areas of politics, bad leadership, and governance throughout Africa and the rest of the world. Your feedback and experience is very important to us. It helps us build a more robust community now than ever. If this is your first time on our channels, please don't forget to smash the like button and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Let's get started.
This is NuMediaTV in London. This is NuMediaTV in London. This is NuMediaTV in London.
Warning! The following program contains graphics and images that some people may find disturbing and traumatizing. Some of the violent content may be too intense for some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. NuMediaTV.
Fair Use Act Disclaimer. Fair Use Copyright Disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as nonprofit, criticism, news reporting, comment, teaching, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Content disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this media or comments on this channel are those of the speakers or authors, and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos and audios may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. This channel's owner claims no copyright to said content. The broadcaster of this channel cannot be held accountable to the copyrighted content. The broadcaster of this channel is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify the accuracy of such information, but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this channel.
Yes, hi. Good evening. Good evening to you all. Good evening, my avid viewers. Good evening, world. Yes, good evening from wherever you're watching this live stream today, Monday, the 20th day of November 2023. And by the time of this live stream, live all the way from London, the time is exactly 18:24, 24 minutes past 6 o'clock. London time. I am your host, Frank Bello. Yes, let's do it the way we normally do it. I thought I'll be able to come live as I promised you guys every Sundays, but because I wasn't able to make that yesterday, that's that gesture of mine. So I thought, okay, let's stream this evening so that many of those information that I've got piled up for you guys can all be unleashed to the world. Good evening, Abbas Ganiu. Good evening, Narada Franklin. Yes, you are the two that I'm able to see right now from the studio. Alaja Folake Alawiye too. Good evening. You're welcome to the stream. If you're joining us for the first time on this great channel, please like, subscribe, follow us, and share the live stream. Yes, it could be some of the information that we are going to dispatch from this end of the dispatch box might be the quality and the caliber of information that some people somewhere will be dying to get hold of. Yes, we are back again to hashtag the Bleeding Edge 2023, and this particular episode of the Bleeding Edge 2023 is episode number 001. And Ibolaji, good evening. I can spot you as well. Yes, we can see that at least everything that we said and we warned many of the people who simply fail to believe some of the things we've been saying now. It be like sacrifice, don't bedo. Yes. Yes, hashtag the bleeding edge 2023 episode 001 is what we will be discussing today. Before I go into this particular topic, something actually came my way just before I came live, and I thought I have to share that particular little piece of info with you. And that I was flabbergasted. Did you hear that? I was completely gobsmacked that Obasanjo is now proposing Afro-democracy. You heard. Olusegun Obasanjo, former president and former military junta in location 9, is now proposing Afro-democracy. He says Western democracy is not working for Africa. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? It is breaking. And I got that just a few moments ago before I came live. Obasanjo is now proposing Afro-democracy. So many African countries, by saying Western democracy is not working for Africa. After 8 years, and perhaps 2.5 years, going 3 years as a military junta before he handed over power to another Fulani man in 1979, Shehu Shagari. See, after 8 years as a democratically elected president, when the likes of General Ibrahim Babangida and General Abdusalam Abubakar and the northern oligarch drafted him in 1999 to come and salvage all the mess he created, all the mess Obasanjo created before Babangida annulled that election in 1993. I will continue to say that the bane of the problem of Nigeria is no other person other than Obasanjo. You see, after he ruled as a democratically elected president for 8 years, and he looted, and the level of corruption in his administration from 1999 to 2007 was nothing to talk home about. After he looted, and now this man has got the stomach to now come publicly and then say to Africans that Western democracy is not working for Africans, and that he's going to propose Afro democracy. He said that in Abeokuta. He said the Western style of democracy failed in Africa because it does not take into consideration the views of the majority of the people. He went further by now describing Western liberal democracy as a government of a few people over all the people or population Look who's talking. Look who is talking. There's a lot going on. And some of the areas that I am going to touch today, I think I'm gonna kickstart this particular one. I've got this particular voice note to play you. This particular one. Have I got it in here? Is the question. Let me see if I have got that here. Let me show all the files. Which one can it be here? Okay, I think it is this one. Yeah, I think it is that one. I want you to listen to this tape because I've got some analysis to make on that.
Hello, gbogbo ilé ẹ̀ka sàn àkójọ mẹ́ta o. Ẹjọ́ kíní kan wà tí kò yé mi. Bóyá tó bá ní idea ó lè fi yé mi. River Niger àti River Benue ló divide north àti south. Now, báwo ni àwọn north ṣe máa claim pé Kwara State north ni? Báwo ni àwọn north ṣe máa claim pé Kogi State north ni? Báwo ni àwọn north ṣe máa claim pé Benue State north ni? Ẹjọ́ ẹni tó bá ní òye ẹjọ́ ẹ láyé mi kò yé mi o, because wọ́n ń pe Kogi State àti Kwara State ní north central. So ilẹ̀ Haúsá èmi rò pé ó yẹ kó end ní Niger State ni. Kí ló mú wọn tó fi ń claim Kwara State as a northern state, pé north central, àti Kogi State àti Benue State? Ẹjọ́ ẹni tó bá ní idea ẹjọ́ ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ sílé o, kò yé mi o, torí ẹ̀ mo ṣe ń béèrè bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Ẹ ṣeun. Lóòbẹ̀ kí ló dé tó wá ka Kwara àti Kogi mọ́ six geopolitical zone? Ṣebí kí ló ti ń pè é, River Niger àti River Benue ó ti divide wa already. Àwọn people yẹn wọ́n fẹ́ jalè ni, wọ́n ti ń plan kíní ètè pẹ́. So àwa Yorùbá nation a sì ní iṣẹ́ gidigidi láti ṣe ní Kwara State àti Kogi State. Àwọn people yẹn ó lè ní wọ́n, àwọn outside Fúlàní yẹn ó lè, especially àwọn Fúlàní wọ́n máa ń gba ilẹ̀ ni. Ẹ̀yin kò ní òkè ọya, ibo ló ń pè ní òkè ọya, ṣe bí River Niger ni. So ó yẹ káwọn sọ pé òkè o, ibi tí six political zone tó dé ní Niger State, why Kwara State, why Kogi State? Àwọn people yẹn wọ́n wájà ti pé wọ́n fẹ́ gba ilẹ̀ wa ni. Ìjà tó ń wá nìyẹn, a sì níṣẹ́ láti ṣe ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ gan ni tó pọ̀ gan. Kwara State and Kogi State it's not supposed to be north central. Kí ló dé?
The only explanation that I have, and I'm not just going to explain that right at the top of my head. I have an illustration to prove that to you. You see, the person that messed up the whole confederation as at that time. Unfortunately, it's no other person other than General Gowon. I'm just trying to look for that particular. Yeah, this is it. Now, A handful of you lack vision and you lack knowledge because you don't read. You don't poke your nose. You don't investigate. You find it difficult to look into all those tiny bits and pieces. Ofemi Akowen, I'm seeing that name for the first time. Thanks for tuning in. Patricia Narada, good evening. If you're just joining the stream, please try and share it, because this is extremely important. Now, somebody else actually sent me another requirement. I'm not too sure whether, yes, I think this was from Prince. And again, Prince wanted me to explain certain things. You see, I got to know many of this information that many people are now asking me to explain since I was in primary school, long time. And because they were all primary school lessons in social studies that I studied even in primary school. You see, it was there permanently in my head. You see, you won't believe it. Some people, look at this. These are the things they should be teaching those children right now. And even adults don't even know the significance of such. Yeti Queen, good evening. If an adult don't even know what that means, an adult who is a Nigerian, who doesn't even know anything about their own country, so how do they want to teach their own children? You know why? Because majority are busy listening to sex sites, listening to where they talk about báwo ni àwọn ṣe lè bá ilé ìsùn, àwọn wá obìnrin, àwọn wá ìyẹn, àwọn wo ló ti dó ìyàwó lérí, àwọn wo ló ti dó ọkọ ọlọ́kọ rí. That is where you find people that are supposed to go after what will nourish their mind and get them thinking. It's going to be a bit hot. I'm not saying people should not even, because sometimes there are lessons to be learned from many of those platforms that discusses sex and matchmake people. Sometimes there are things that you can learn quite a few from them. See? But because Nigerians, you see, the white man that says the best way to keep a secret from a black man is to document it, because the black man will never read or find out where those information are hidden. Oh yes. Oh yes. And that is the reason why in 2023, 63 years after independence, Nigeria does not have any sense of direction in governance. Which is why, after how many years? After how many years? Let's check it out again. Let me bring it out for you again. After how many years? Active democracy in Nigeria. 1999. 1999. Look at this. I want to ask some of you, are you genuinely happy with yourselves? The way Nigeria has been in the last 24 years? Have you? What are the dividends of that democracy? That suddenly the mantra then changed to Emilokon. It's going to get worse. It's really going to get worse tonight. It's really going to get worse. You see, God, help us. Help me. You see, look at this. See, you know why? Because nobody is out there to challenge them. And this is his final term as governor. So this is the time tí Mákindé gangan náà máa kó owó tiẹ̀ náà jẹ náà. Kò ń ṣe pé kò kówó jẹ the first time. Ó kó jẹ but ó take time ara ẹ̀ ni. Their second coming is when they loot the treasury. It's terrible. It's terrible. There are many things. See, you remember also all of you that you claim you are Yoruba agitators. You remember when I think this was in 2023, 2022. Yeah, it was in 2021. It won't. I know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not going to happen. Like me or you hate me. But that is the gospel truth. It's not going to happen. Now, look at this. Let me, before I begin to go a bit deeper and deeper, look at this. Look at this. See? For him to just sit down quietly and enjoy the money he looted from the Nigerian police force. Rárá o. Ó tún fẹ́ lọ jí mọ́ sí ni. He wants to loot more. More. People that are not content in life. People that are not content in life. Now check this out. Are you stupid? Are you all stupid? I think the better might as well just tell that person that actually made that statement to withdraw it. That's why I said it's going to be brutal and it's going to be nasty. Go easy. It's not going to be easy. No, it won't be easy. It won't be easy. I can assure you. I can really, really assure you. Yeah. It's not easy. Now, I want to go into some other areas right now. And those areas I want to go into, let's try and then see this one. Let me start with this. I got this, but I doubt it if that really happened. Some Nigerians, some youth said Nigeria is bleeding, and as such, everybody should come out today. That they wanted to lock down Nigeria, but I doubt if that really came to pass. Watch this.
This is NuMediaTV in London. On this channel, we tell stories through digital content in areas of politics, bad leadership, and governance throughout Africa and the rest of the world. Your feedback and experience is very important to us. It helps us build a more robust community now than ever. If this is your first time on our channels, please don't forget to smash the like button and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Let's get started.
On the 20th of this month, everybody, Nigeria, they shut down. Anywhere for this country where you dey, anywhere, wanna come out. Because we don't go day here, but let these people kill us finish before we go wake up. Waiting on the fear. Waiting on the fear. Are you living any good life now? Like, oh my God. Fuel 6 something. We don't even get them back. Now, you know the style we say now, when they withdraw fuel, they go come bring am at a very high price. We go say, after all, we even there now to buy. This time we know the grain it where go be make it peak. On the 20th, if you don't come out, that one I used to be anybody don't come out say they can't complain. This one that. Let's shut down Nigeria as it go be. Me like this, so my team and everybody we day back. Anywhere go be. But just know something: no stealing, no destruction of government properties. We are going out with our flag, with our everything for peaceful demonstration, and nothing, nobody get any right to stop us. Police, soldiers, abeg, just like how Aisha talk, say we are going for peaceful protest, and nobody should turn it to a violence, because we are also ready for the violence protest. If the security agent push us by killing anybody, we are not going to destroy, we are not going to do any evil. We are going there to show to the world that we are not happy with what is happening in the country, and so it shall be. So all Nigerians, all the youth, if you know that you are touched, look at what happened in Kogi, look at what happened in Imo, look at what happened in Bayelsa, and everybody is still sitting there. Now Mumu will be, which kind of country be this? Which kind of country be this?
I doubt it if Nigeria. I doubt it. Because according to them, if they've locked that country down, I must have at least gathered some little piece of information. But hey, Nigeria, see, probably that Gazard or their leaders, they must have been called and they must have given them something. Oh, keep your mouth shut. That's how they operate. Okay, it's gonna get really tough. This particular one is it's nothing to talk home about. And I want you to watch this. Nsukka Enugu Expressway in Nigeria, 2023. Nsukka Enugu Expressway, 2023. Watch it.
This is Nsukka Enugu Expressway. As you can see, we are in a good slope. The depth of this place is about 7 feet. You can see it now. We are here since yesterday. You know, say our organ they believe person, you know they trust person. Unless you do like this, send that for them. Our own feel believe if you see him, he go no say true, but he go to tell you say what you they talking no understand them. Just look at why human being carry motor to pass. So now be this so. My caterpillar is supposed to pass this kind of place, but see now human being motor. Sir. Look at how many feet here? This is about 8 feet. This place reach 8 feet or 10 feet. 10 feet. 10 feet. No, at least make it not be like say I lie. You don't almost finish the tanker. Don't finish. Oh, now help us you. The sufferness way drivers the suffer. Today is 7 days. We are here. This is Enugu Nsukka Expressway. Huh? Our federal government in here. Now we they kill ourselves so. That's the Siamo. This one a trailer we carry cement 9 days there so. The four then transloader 9 days they load so now. Siamo. See the depth of this place. Don't chop one trailer complete. As you can see. Now trailer there inside pit like this so. Look at the depth of this road. This is the depth of this road. My truck there inside so. A cement there for ground like this so. Cement. Nigeria, we don't die. Our leaders now God just carry when I go put them on and enjoy ourselves. One day now when I go use and go hang on ourselves die. We don't go do any bad thing no. After when I rule finish, chop the money, enjoy ourselves. When I go use and hang on ourselves die. When I see suffer where they suffer. When I do budget, they carry the money put for pocket. Every year when I go do budget for each road, when I carry the money put for pocket. When I go chop the money, enjoy, enter motorway cost 150 million. But when I go use and hang on myself, die. Now, senators, they said they won't buy motor for them. One motor, 150 million. That 150 million will never fill this place. Look, just look at what people they suffer here. More on a sea road. This is road. This is federal road. Enugu Nsukka Expressway. Our Nigerian leaders, if what you people are doing is good for God, is good for us. But if it is not good for God, Let God judge you people. You people will use their hand and kill yourself. We will not fight you people, but you people will use their hand and kill yourself. Immediately now, look when I see them. Just look at people. Okay. Well, okay. Senators, well, they want to buy motor 150 million for senators. Look at people here. Are we not the same human being? Are we not the same human being? But some people are special than others. Look at suffering. Look at road. Just look at people. Some are here 5 days. Some are here 7 days. Some are here 3 days. Look at road. Our senators, make a tell una go use una hand hang una self. All of una will commit this crime finish. Later use una hand hang una self. Any person will cry for una, that person go kill himself also. Any person will cry for any leader for this country, that person go use his hand kill himself because that person a witch. Any person will cry for any politician will die. That person lion supposed chop him because that person not human being. More na see him. Who go suffer this kind of suffer tomorrow? As I so I need to vote. I don't get voters card. I don't know how they take vote. I make that choice right from when I small. Up to today, I don't get voters card. I don't get anything. I need to vote. I need to go where they vote. Because you vote, you know vote, what thing they want to do, now they go do. Do you know that Eastern State Government, Eastern as East Day, they get their senators, get the House of Rep, get governors. But this money for this road, they enter their pocket.
Yes, you see that? Fela Anikulapo Kuti, may his soul rest in perfect peace. The prophet God sent to Nigeria. What happened to him? He said it decades ago. Suffering and smiling. You're all suffering and you're smiling. Every day, not the same thing. Suffering and smiling every day, decades upon decades. 1980 precisely, my late father called me on our way to Akure for the weekend, just before he retired from active service. He said Nigeria will collapse. 1980. That the way they continue to run the country, it's not the way to run a country. That, as at that time, the country was heading for a doom. He was not mistaken. So he quickly asked me to pack all my belongings and go back to where I belong. See? It's terrible. Now, looking at the video clip that you have just seen, do you really think in your hearts of hearts that the white folks are your problems? No. The white folks are not your problem. You are the root cause of your own problem. Because you have aided and you have abetted your politicians. They've given you crumbs. Believing, oh, it is our turn. It is not our turn, so we won't vote for you. Terrible. But I'm not sorry for anyone. I'm not. Now, look at this one. This one really got me. And I was saying to myself, watch this next one.
wọ́n fáwọn tí ẹ dìbò fún láǹfààní láti máa sọ̀rọ̀.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni wọ́n fún ọ̀tá àǹfààní tá a dìbò fún wọn fún tí ibo kan wà tí wọ́n ra gàlọ́jà ní àṣà ní ṣe báwọn bọ̀dá yín ni ẹ̀yin ló kàn lóòótọ́ ó kàn wá.
ọdún tí ń súnmọ́ tòsí sí i.
ẹjọ́ kan ṣàánú àmì ní kọ́mẹ́tì tí mo fẹ́ sọ jẹ́ lọ́rọ̀ oúnjẹ lórí àwọn ọmọ lórí àwa gan kọjọ kan ṣàánú oúnjẹ ọfíìsì àní jẹun mọ́ ni mo fẹ́ ṣe mo sì mo rà last 4,000 naira ni mo rà 5 kg mo máa rà ń jẹta 5,500 naira kí ló dé mo lọ ra close up ní last week 27,500 naira ìgbà tí mo rà lọ́jọ́ Friday ó jẹ́ 30,000 wọ́n fún mi ní 200 naira.
kó gbélé ṣé kí n para mi ni ó ní kò lè yọ.
mi ṣáà sọ fún ìgbà tí mo ń bọ̀ president mo là ń jọ sáyé dènà bá kan náà wọ́n fi 7,000 àlẹ́ president pálí kan lẹ́ẹ̀kan ṣoṣo lórí ọjà kí ló dé tí wọ́n ṣáà ń tọ́nu bọ́ bàbá Tinubu ni mò ń sọ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn torí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn níyà ọjà mo dìbò mọ́ ọ̀nà pọ́lẹ́ báyìí kí ló dé ṣé bí kò lè yẹ wà láyé ìdìbò fún wọn kọ́ ṣàánú fún wa náà kọ́ jọ kọ́ ṣàánú fún wa kọ́ wò wá ṣe o nǹkan yìí pọ̀ jẹ̀nu wa Ọlọ́run ni ò tí máa lù wá pa nǹkan o kọ́ ṣàánú wa o kọ́ jọ o Yorùbá ni wọ́n afọkàn tẹ̀ wọ́n ni o.
ojú òye náà ni ṣọ́ọ̀bù.
inú ojú òye náà lẹ wà ibẹ̀ náà ni ṣọ́ọ̀bù wa ibi tá a wà yìí náà ni ṣọ́ọ̀bù wa wà ibi tá a wà yìí ni ṣọ́ọ̀bù wa wà kó ń ṣàánú àwa mẹ̀kúnnù kó ń ṣàánú kó tiẹ̀ máa rántí ní ìṣẹ́jú kan kó máa rántí wa ní ìṣẹ́jú kan kí wọ́n máa gbẹ èrò àwọn mẹ̀kúnnù mọ́ èrò títí wọn náà wọ́n má jẹ́ pé àwa nìkan kò dáa àwa nìkan many of people ló ti kú àwọn èèyàn ti kú olóyún ti kú ẹni tí olóyún ti kú ẹni tí òun jẹjẹ ti kú ọmọ kékeré ti kú àgbàlagbà ti kú ọ̀dọ́ ti kú kí ló dé lórí àìlówó ni ṣẹ́ni tọ́mọ ẹ̀ bá síìkì tí ó bá owó gbọ́mọ lọ tẹ́ bá jẹ́ hospital sí bẹ́ẹ̀ owó kólẹ̀ wọn lè attend sí yín kí ni mí ní general hospital tẹ́ bá dé general tẹ́ bá owó kólẹ̀ wọn ní attend sí yín ṣẹ́ni tó bá lówó general débi kó fẹ́ lówó private kódà ara ni àwọn èèyàn ẹyí sí dáàdì kẹgbẹ́ nǹkan tó ń sọ.
tí o bá fẹ́ ra oúnjẹ bá mú 1,000 dání wọ̀lẹ́tàlá ó bá jẹun àárọ̀ ó lè jẹ́ kó yó oúnjẹ 1,000 wọ́n tẹ́lá ìdíríkà kan 1,000 ẹ wo kó sì lọ ẹgbẹ́ pẹ́pọ̀ tí ó sì wo àlẹ́kùtà mọ́ wọn ọtí kà má dìbò fún wọn mọ́ kọ́ gbàgbé ẹ̀.
ẹ̀yàn kí ló rọ̀ yín bàbá.
má béèrè orúkọ mi kí ló fẹ́ forúkọ mi.
bọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n inú ojú òye lọ́la iná gbé.
béèrè orúkọ mi fi mí lẹ̀ inú ojú ẹ̀ mo wà.
kọ́ bá aṣọ́jà ní kókó.
ẹ wo fi mí lẹ̀.
wọ́n bá wa sọ́jà ní ẹ wo gbà yín kà àti ìgbálẹ̀ láàárọ̀
ọjọ́ wo kọ́kù ti pa kà má jẹun mọ́.
sọ́jà dọ̀tí abọ́ fi ṣèkà fún wa.
ṣọ̀kùnrin apá wọn ni.
ẹ wo gbogbo ojú wo yẹ.
ọlọ́kàn yàrá tó wà fún ọkọ̀ Nàìjíríà fọ́bọ̀ rẹ̀ fẹ́ mẹ̀kúnnù kò fẹ́ pọ̀ wá kò fẹ́ pọ̀ wá wàhálà yìí
fi ń pa wá.
àwa lọ́kàn ọ̀pọ̀ máa fẹ́ pọ̀ mẹ̀kúnnù ni kò fẹ́ pọ̀ wá kò fẹ́ pọ̀ wá ojoojúmọ́ náà ti gbogbo ọjà wọ́n tún fi tọ́jú wòye kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ náà ká má jẹun.
Ọlọ́run nìkan ló máa gbè wá níjà a lè máa kẹ́pẹ́ ó lè máa gbè wá níjà ìbínú Ọlọ́run máa dé ẹ má yẹ kí ìbínú Ọlọ́run dé bá wọn o kẹ́kẹ́ tètè yí ọkọ yín padà sáwọn mẹ̀kúnnù bí ò sáwà kò sẹ́yìn bí ò sí àwa mẹ̀kúnnù kò sẹ́yìn ẹ má yẹ kí ìbínú Ọlọ́run dé o èdè yìí fi yín padà àwa ni àwọn èèyàn ojoojúmọ́ làwọn èèyàn ṣe ń kú kò dá o ẹ ṣàánú mẹ̀kúnnù o ẹ ṣàánú mẹ̀kúnnù o ẹ ṣàánú mẹ̀kúnnù o. nísìnyí àwọn onígbàmínáǹtà máa pariwo wa ojoojúmọ́ la máa ń sanwó wọlé ẹ̀jẹ̀ ká rówó san bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dé bíbá àwọn ọmọ wo ìjà bẹ́ẹ̀ mi tẹ̀ ṣe wà ó kó ní mímì lọ́kọ wọ́n dá pípẹ́ wọn fara ní mí ni torí nígbà tí wọ́n sọ lánàá báyìí wọ́n ṣe ni mo ń tọ̀ sára lẹni tó ń yàgbẹ́ ní lẹ́ẹ̀mẹ́ta ni wọ́n yàgbẹ́ lánàá bàtàlà kí ló dé ìnira ìpọ̀ jù kán ṣàánú wa
tó wá ń ti ọjà tó ń ti ọjà àkójá báyìí owó sùn wọn gbogbo ẹ̀ wọn kò ṣiṣẹ́ kò sí
lára ni wọn fẹ́fọ̀ wọn ni wá lára ni látijọ́ táláyé ti dá yan ti ọjà ọjà ní àwọn olókùn orí nǹkan kan ṣe ká má fara ni wá ọ̀hún ṣe fún wa kó tún yé ni wá lára ọmọ òṣè òjẹ ni wá èyí tó tó wà lọ́wọ́ kó yé ni wá lára ẹni tó kàn ẹlòmíì ò tí mọ̀ nǹkan tó máa jẹ láàárọ̀ yìí kó yé ni wá lára.
a máa jẹun wọn bá dé bí àwọn ọmọ wa ò jẹun àwa náà ò jẹun owó sùn wọn ọmọ mi kan sì wọ́n ti lè wálé láti fún oníkó lọ jókòó.
ọkàn wa ti balẹ̀ lórí àwa lọ́kàn
ṣàánú wa.
àwọn ọmọ padà ṣe báyìí fún wa ọkàn wa balẹ̀ lórí àwa lọ́kàn nítorí pé wọ́n jẹ́ Yorùbá a dẹ̀ dìbò fún èdè wa kò yẹ kán ṣe wá bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn tó bá tẹ̀ wá jẹ́ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bẹ́ẹ̀ ni torí pé wọ́n jẹ́ Yorùbá ọkàn wa dẹ̀ balẹ̀ wípé lẹ́yìn Ọlọ́run a nígbàgbọ́ nínú wọn wípé he can do it a nígbàgbọ́ pé bàbá Tinubu ó lè ṣe dáadáa ṣùgbọ́n wa ní wa o owó ojú ọmọ àlè sọ tansu ni ewu owó ilé àlè sọ o owó ilé 1,250 tẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn onílé sọ pé ó ti di 500 o wọ́n lọ sọ pé 800,000 ló dá o ẹ ṣàánú mẹ̀kúnnù ẹ rántí pé gbogbo.
You see, wọn rí nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀. Let me break this down. Let me break it down. You see, all those recharge card they were given out to each and every one of you before the election, and all the crumbs, the 500 naira, the 1,000 naira, whether maximum 5,000 naira, that some of you collected. Ṣé ẹ̀yin ò mọ̀ pé ibì kan lówó yẹn gbé ti làwọn náà gbé ti lọ gbé owó yẹn wá ni tán wá hà fún yín? And because they gave you those recharge card and those crumbs that will not even last you 48 hours. You egba 5,000 naira. Owó yẹn, owó ẹ̀jẹ̀ ni. It is blood money that they've given you. And you expect blood money to stay in your hand? Foul. Now, they have to recuperate that money and give it back to where that money came from. You see, a couple of years ago, in the very first dispensation in 1999, there was this member of House of Reps, a woman, that slapped the speaker at the time, Dimeji Bankole, during their sitting, in one of their sitting sessions. That woman, I subsequently met her when she came over to England. And as a matter of fact, we had a very nice, lovely chat because I dropped her back at Heathrow Terminal 5 when she was going back to Abuja. Because it was a long, stressful drive from Paddington to Heathrow Terminal 5, and especially during the peak hours. So I was able to chat, and I extracted some very useful information from this woman. She had already left because she only served for one term. Now, she made me realize that Democracy is not yet in Nigeria. She made it known that we don't have democracy in Nigeria. That the day real democracy will come over to Nigeria is the day politicians will not bribe the electorate. And so long as the electorate are not prepared to receive crumbs from the politicians, that is when they can deliver in governance. She said, before she became the honorable member of the Federal House of Representatives, she borrowed money from the bank to run her campaign. Now, the money she borrowed from the bank, she said she used it in bribing people and then paying some local party chiefs so that she can get the nomination. Now, because she exhausted huge sums of money for that campaign, she said, Frank, if I get there, the first thing I want to do is recuperate my money so that I can pay back the bank. That for her, she had already settled those electorates that collected money up front, and that she's not there to represent them but to represent herself. She made it known. Look at them now shouting, complaining that they voted because Omo Yoruba ni, àwọn no kan, èmi ló kàn, blah 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 blah. You see, perhaps the right time that they were supposed to take things into their hands was to shun the politicians and then tell them, no, take us back to our old regional formation. We are not good. If the whole country decided not to vote, a drastic action will be made. But so long as you have collected your dues from Emilokan, now you are now having to pay back million times of what you collected of him. I told you people. Some people, even within the Yoruba agitation, that equally went and then mingled with politicians, called me a madman. Oh yes, they do. They called me a madman. They called me a radical. Am I bothered? No, because I have conscience. I'm not bothered about anybody. You see, they have only started. It's going to get worse. It is going to get a lot more worse for them. It's not going to be easy for them. Now, let me show you this. And then you will begin to see where things are really going wrong, because many people still believe that, okay, wait, before I even go there, yeah, let me show you this, and then I will take you back again. I will show you another one, and then I'll show you Seun Okibaloye's interview that got me thinking. Let's do this. Now, watch this clip very well.
There is a posting on YouTube now. The title of it is "Why No Looting in Japan After Tsunami and Earthquake of 2011." And in that posting on YouTube, they've taken some clips of a message I preached in 2005 after the Katrina event, pointing up the barbarism, the animal behavior of black men in a time of crisis, by raping, by robbing, by fighting, by looting. Also after the 2009 earthquake in Haiti, the Haitian men, the black men, were robbing and looting and raping. In the wake of that tragic event, what black men are inescapable. They cannot do anything else but become barbaric. That when those people went into that dome, those black women and children and black men, there should have been organization. The black men should have set up posts to secure food, to protect the people. The black pastors, and many of them were very prominent with 20 and 25,000 members. They, of course, were able to get on their private jets and hightail it out of town, and did not come back or didn't think about trying to help their members who had bought those private jets for them and paid for all of their living. They left town as quickly as they possibly could when the flood waters began to rise. I was not down there telling those black men to act like animals, to rape those girls, to take all the food, and to stink up that dome with feces all over where the bathrooms backed up, and just a nightmare they created for one another, because when you leave black people unto themselves, that's how they act. Pastors who should have been there trying to heal, trying to comfort, trying to give some sort of direction to all of that, what was going on in the midst of Katrina, were hightailing it out of town on their private jets and taking the top floor of the Marriott Hotel in Atlanta and the Marriotts and the other fancy hotels in Dallas, Florida, while they're sitting up in these fancy suites and flying around in their private jets, and had their Rolls Royces and Bentleys flown to Dallas and Atlanta so they could ride around in their Bentleys while they were there. This is the nature of the black man. This is his true, unabashed nature. When he is left to himself, when the cavalry didn't come, when FEMA did not respond in the wake of the Katrina breaking of the levees, the black people set up a nation of killing one another, because that's who they are, and they can't do anything other than that. Whether they are pastors with large amounts of monies or doctors with PhD or medical degrees, they cannot have a civilized unity of nation among themselves. And so that's why when they were left to themselves, and the cavalry wasn't there, even the police began to loot and rape and rob and shoot and maim black people. And when the helicopter came finally, after days of struggling in that dome, the black men were beating the women trying to get on the helicopter, and the police had to pull their guns on the men and say the women and children first. This is the unabashed nature of black people. You get angry with me because I will not walk lockstep with the lie that black leaders and bleeding heart liberal white leaders tell about black people. I speak the truth about black people. It isn't because I hate them. If somebody doesn't tell the truth, they're only going to get worse. Now, I want you to compare what happened in Katrina and compare what happened in Haiti to what's going on now with the Japanese people, how orderly they are, how considerate they are of one another, how patient they are of one another, how they are responding to a disaster far worse than Katrina. Idea, you don't see looting. There is not one report of looting, of raping, or inhumanity towards man of the Japanese people one towards another. But I guarantee you, if it happens in a black neighborhood, black people turn on each other like dogs in the night. It is, and that is the black man can't do any better. He doesn't have the spiritual strength to do any better other than to turn on his own, to destroy, to rob, to rape, and to maim. He doesn't have any other strength. He doesn't have the integrity, the honesty to lift himself up. Is it because the black man hates the white man that he in turn hates his own kind? What is it that this happens? Why is it that what have the Japanese people, what do they know about unity and humanity? What do they know about struggle and survival? What do they know that the black man doesn't know? Now, don't hate me for this. Why? Why do you hate the truth? Why can't black leaders admit that we are barbarous, animalistic, maniacal, helpless people? We can't do anything except destroy. We can't build. We cannot. The only thing we can do is destroy. No president, black nor white, can solve our problems. We've got something internally in our blood worse than sickle cell that causes us to attack one another. Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? Because I speak the truth. Look at the death of what's happening. Look at what's going on all around you. Look at the death, the suffering, the poverty, the brokenness. And you want to continue that? Perchance, the reason why you can't love what I say is because you are an animal and you don't respond in the human species culture of human relations one to the other. You are an animal. That's why you hate what I say.
Africa which way? Let me show you 5 longest serving presidents in Africa that have refused to hand over power. This is Teodoro Obiang, the president of Equatorial Guinea, a position he has held since August 1979, which means he has been ruling this country for the past 44 years. And that makes him the longest serving president, not just in Africa, but in the world. He came into power after he overthrew his uncle in 1979 military coup. And second on my list is Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon. He has been in power since on the 6th of November 1982, making him the second longest serving president in Africa. And guess what? He is 90 years old, the oldest president in the world. And what amazed me about this president is that he is so old to the extent that he can't even remember where they take him to, which means he's not the one really ruling the country, and he doesn't want to hand over power. Chad. Third on my list, Denis Sassou, the third longest serving president in Africa. He is the president of Congo and he has spent over 34 years in office, but not in a go. He first served in 1979 to 1992 and returned in 1997 at the end of a civil war. Fourth on my list, Yoweri Museveni. He has been the president of Uganda since 1986. He is the 4th longest serving president in Africa. He took the office in 1986, and it was said that ever since then, election in that country has never been free and transparent. That is why he's been able to hold this position up to date. And last on my list, Asaya Afwerki. This is the president of Eritrea. He became president in 1993 when the country got its independence from Ethiopia. He is the 5th longest serving president in Africa. Africa is the richest continent in the world. But when you visit Africa for the first time, it looked like the poorest continent. Why? You know the answer. Africa is blessed with so many resources, culture, beautiful people. We are really rich and blessed. The so-called leaders in office are really drawing us back. Blessed all the elderly people in the house, and I'm happy for long life. Everyone is praying for long life. But if you have an elderly man or woman in your house, you will discover that the way you think and the way he or she think will never be the same. Sometimes you have to go through a lot of stress to correct them in one thing or the other. That is because the more we grow old, the more our brain begin to decay. You cannot expect a 90-year-old man to rule a country very well. It is not possible. A country needs a very young, fresh blood with fresh brain to take the country to the next level. But no, some people want to hold the power till they enter their grave. This is the reason why Africa is going backward every time. Although it's still our continent, we can't run away. We just have to unite and find a way to make it great. What do you think about this? I'll be reading your comments. See you in my next video.
Again, the purpose of this event is to try to make sure that the Congress of the United States, the administration of this country, our friends and allies around the world, and not least, of course, people of goodwill in this country and elsewhere, are on notice that Nigeria is at risk of disastrous collapse, that the forces that we've just been talking about are in the process of taking down a country that is the most populous in Africa, with horrific implications, not just for the immediate vicinity, the Lake Chad region as it's known, but for that continent and almost certainly others beyond. Congressman Wolf mentioned Bono, talking about a catastrophe that would make what has happened to Europe in the past few years, as a relatively small number of people migrated there with unbelievably chaotic consequences, look like a day at the beach by comparison. We're on notice. And the question is, do we have to wait until this horror is upon us before something is done about it? Or do we take steps now to try to prevent that? And I don't think any of us is saying that this is a panacea, but the appointment of the appropriate individual with the requisite authority. I just wanted to underscore what Congressman Wolf said about having the President of the United States essentially personally empowering Senator Danforth to lead the effort on behalf of our country to alleviate that situation. That has to be done again, and it has to be an empowering of a person with the stature and the capabilities needed to do two really vital things. One is to pull together the government agencies that have responsibility for pieces of a problem like Nigeria. The Defense Department, as well as, of course, the State Department, USAID, the UN mission of the United States, the National Security Council, and others, to come together with a common, appropriate, and much needed policy approach. And then secondly, at least as importantly, to be able authoritatively to represent what that approach is to the government of Nigeria. So they know who they're dealing with. They know that this is in fact the policy, and they can't go, looking for people who will provide some sort of alternative that might not require as much of them. So it's those two vitally important things that have to be done. And on behalf of, again, the Save the Persecuted Christians Coalition and team, I just want to say I think this is a moment of truth, a moment when we will find a difference being made by an administration that is about making a difference on behalf of religious freedom and those who are being denied it around the world. And let me just take a moment to say, as bad as this situation is, it is just one of the areas in the world in which particularly Christians are suffering. By some estimates, it's as small a number as 215 million Christians being brutally persecuted. By others, it's as high as 500,000. Excuse me, 500 million. This is on our watch. It is unconscionable. It must be challenged, contested, and if possible, stopped. And that's what this coalition is about. And I pray that we will be able, with the help of people like Congressman Estes and Congressman Wolf and the Archbishop and our coalition and countless others, to see this problem sorted by the appointment at the earliest possible moment, preferably by the end of this year, because these elections are approaching, of an individual with the requisite authority of the President of the United States and the assignment of making both the U.S. government policy coherent and clear and effective, and communicating that, again, authoritatively to the government of Nigeria, who in the end is ultimately responsible for preventing this catastrophe.
What we're seeing in Nigeria today is part of that story. It's a tragedy that we are watching. It's a tragedy that we are all witnessing, because as we see things falling apart, the pressure this time is not foreign colonialism, forgive me. The pressure instead is corruption and violence and attempts at control. And that's why I totally agree with my honourable friend, the member for Edmonton. We need to call out the corruption. We need to use the powers that we have in this country to stop those who are profiting from the wealth of that great nation and hiding it here. Now, some people will remember when General Gowon left Nigeria with half the central bank, so it is said, and moved to London. We know that today, even now, in this great city of ours, there are, sadly, some people who have taken from the Nigerian people and hidden their ill-gotten gains here. We know that our banks, sadly, have been used for that profit and for that illegal transfer of assets. And that means that the UK is in an almost unique position in being able to actually do something to really exert pressure on those who have robbed the Nigerian people. Now, this puts a particular onus on the Minister, and I know my right honourable friend knows it, that using Magnitsky sanctions today isn't just about protecting Nigeria, although it is. It's not just about respecting Nigerian young people who have been robbed and murdered by these SARS units. It's actually about protecting the United Kingdom, because what happens in Nigeria matters fundamentally to us here. This is the third country of the Commonwealth. This is a country of 200 million people. It is going to be the great economic powerhouse of Africa and one of the great economic powerhouses of the world. This is a country whose wealth, not just in the oil off the river state, but in the imagination and creativity of its people, is witnessed every day in Nollywood, and perhaps more my style, at the great University of Jos. This is a country that gives so much to the world already, despite the fact that it is ill-governed, brutalized and robbed. Just imagine what it could give if the plateau state
If you've been on TikTok for a while, you must have heard about a ton of Africans telling you that Europeans stole Africa's resources. Now, there's a lot to say about that. First and foremost, most of these resources are still in Africa, and they're not being stolen by Europeans. They're actually being sold to Europeans by the African state leadership. Your own elites are robbing you. It's not us doing it, not anymore. The real issue, of course, is why aren't Africans using their own resources to do things? Why does Mr. Beast have to go to Kenya to build water wells? Why didn't the Kenyan government do it themselves? I suppose the Kenyan government could have done it themselves. They just chose not to do it. Nigeria is now a country of almost 220 million people, the largest country in Africa. But they only produce about 10% of the electricity that a small country like Hungary. Hungary only has 10 million people, but they produce 10 times as much electricity as Nigeria does. I mean, I know you want to have your Wakanda, right? But do you expect white people to give it to you? No, you're supposed to build it yourself. Having said all this, it is of course obvious that we Europeans in the north need to prepare for a possible, potential African rise in terms of technology and therefore also in terms of military capacity. And that means we in Europe need to already start looking ahead and thinking ahead about how we are going to win the war against Africa, because there will be a future war between Europe and Africa.
Did you hear that? Now, the last speaker made mention of one Mr. Beast. You see, perhaps not many of you are quite familiar with the work that Mr. Beast is doing all over Africa. Mr. Beast is a YouTuber. Yeah, yes, Anibolaji, thank you for that. You said that's the truth of the matter right now. Mr. Beast is a YouTuber who's got over 100 million followers on YouTube. Now, a very young man, very young, perhaps in his late 20s, early 30s, who decided to take the bull by the horn. Rather than the various black African governments across Africa to take care of their own, the excess Mr. Beast is making from his YouTube, he's now building infrastructures across Africa. In Kenya, for instance, he's built many boreholes, drinking waters for people in Kenya, and that's how he goes right everywhere. Now, but we've got Kenya that's probably almost the same age as Nigeria. Let's start all the way from Arab Moi. But they were unable to do anything. Unable to provide for their own people, unable to educate the common man, the children of the common man, unable to build schools, unable to build hospitals, unable to build roads, unable to provide good healthcare service. Why must African leaders depend on the Europeans and the white people? Don't be surprised. It's not just only Nigeria. It runs throughout the veins of every black man. They don't love their own people. Blacks, they simply don't love their own people. The resources are there. Okay, slavery, like I pointed it out to each and every one of you. Slavery, let us take slavery. The worst crime the white race perpetrated on the black race. The slave trade was a trade. Some black people had the audacity to sell their own people as slaves to the white people. After slavery, almost about 500 years ago, then came colonization. Colonization, yes. Colonization is halfway. They built and they took. During colonization, before Nigeria got its own independence in 1960, I can beat my chest and say to you that Nigeria was even prosperous under the British colonial rule when they were controlling the arm of affairs and when Queen Elizabeth was the head of state. Colonialists provided education in colonization. They built missionary schools. You all know many of them. CMS Grammar School, Methodist Boys High School, St. Gregory's College, St. Finbar's College. And they were all delivering quality education. Everything was in order. Independence, then we begin to see the monster that is embedded inside the black race. Then we started killing ourselves. Then there was this looting that was never experienced during the colonial days. Right now, it's worse. The problem of Africa is not Europe or the white man. I will continue to say that, and I have loads of arguments to buttress my own account. The problem of the black race and the problem of African people is not the white race, and it is not European. You blacks, you Africans are the root cause of your own problem. That is the gospel truth. 1960 up to date, there is no black African nation that can say to themselves truthfully that they've got any sense of direction. They don't. Don't you know how Nigerians looted the treasury in 1979 when the country suddenly entered into the Second Republic during Shagari. And the looting, let us minus 1960 right up to 1979. Don't let us even go near that one. Let us look at 1979 to date and see the stupid, oh my God, stupendous amount of money that's been looted out of Nigeria to the West, to Europe, and to America. It's obscene. And many of you will remember as well, it only took United Arab Emirates 30 years to turn the desert into a paradise. From 1990, they started. But when Gowon was a military junta during his time, what did Gowon said to Nigerians? The problem of Nigeria is not money, but how to spend it. He's now confirming he never said that, but it was written. But remember, when that statement was made that the problem of Nigeria was not money but how to spend it, Awolowo begged him to educate the Nigerian children. Education, 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 education. Now they've destroyed education. Adebanjo Sunday, thank you. See, let me remind you of this.
Let's get going. NuMediaTV. Crafted in London, unleashed to the rest of the world by Frank Bello. In our social media platforms, we connect you around the world with raw and undiluted information in digital contents. We make it simple, by nourishing your inner mind to get your spirit filled. If you have enjoyed this video broadcast and our live stream so far, don't forget to like us, rate us, follow us, and subscribe to our channels on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Hit the notification bell so that you get notified when we post a new video or live streaming. Think different. Think beyond the headlines. Your engagement and interaction is the best reward for us. News in its purest form. Let's carry on.
And indeed, we're going to carry on. Now, to tell you how things it's pretty ugly in location 9. See, some things that I never even witnessed when I was growing up. I never witnessed such a thing, to be honest with you. And watching this agony today and then making up the video that I'm going to play you, I was shedding tears. I want you to see this yourself, and then I'm going to bring you another clip that is a complete opposite to what you are about to watch. Now, that clip is right on its way to you.
iṣẹ́ aṣẹ́wó òun ni màmá tó ń bí mi lọ́mọ ń ṣe. Ojú irin níjọba Bàdíà ìyá kó bí mi ti ń ṣàṣẹ́wó. Níbi tí ìyá mi ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ aṣẹ́wó ló ti rí oyún mi re. Ó gba ọkùnrin tí màá mi lọ gba páwọn lóyún kò sí nǹkan gbóyún lọ́wọ́ wọn. Ìgbà tí màá mi bí mi ọjọ́ kejì wọ́n gbé mi lọ sọ́dọ̀ nání kọ́ gbé mi lẹ́fún ó kàn nání ẹ̀ ìyá Ìbàdàn. Ọwọ́ pa fún nání ẹ̀ pa wọn bọ̀ àtọjọ́ yẹn àrùn ọmọ títí dìsí mú ewa yóò mi ń dáyà mi mọ̀ mi ń dá bàbá mi mọ̀. Nání tí màá mi gbé mi lẹ́fún nání ẹ̀ ó tọ́ mi dọdún mẹ́ta. Ìgbà yẹn ni nání ẹ̀ ti kú. Àgbà yẹn ni ìyá ti jẹ mí. Kódà iṣẹ́ tí mò ń ṣe ó ju ọjọ́ orí mi lọ. Iṣẹ́ tí mò ń ṣe máa ṣàké máa ṣa ìdọ̀tí máa ṣa agójú máa ṣa gbàhàn ìṣó máa ṣa nǹkan lẹ́lẹ̀ ike gbogbo agójú kóńdís náà pé bẹ̀. Ibẹ̀ náà máa sùn sí gbogbo mo bá rí òun mo máa fi ń jẹun. Kódà tí ìbá rí bólà ṣe kí n bá rí bólà ṣe máa lọ sí site máa lọ ṣiṣẹ́ máa kó blọọkù máa bá wọn kó yẹ̀pẹ̀ ẹ̀ àwọn blọọkù wọn máa fi ń kọ́lé máa bá wọn kó gbogbo ẹni mo máa ṣe pé aṣọ ìka gan sef máa rà fúnra mi máa tún aṣọ kan máa fi sílé lẹ̀ gan sef máa tún máa gbé máa lọ fọ máa fọ kó wọn pé kó máa di tuntun máa wọ̀. Eléyìí gan sì kẹ́ṣe rí lọ́rùn yìí mo gbé lé lẹ́ni o èmi mo fọ́ pé wájú.
Tèmi sí aláàánú kan tí ó lómi jẹ́ mi nù. Tèmi sí aláàánú kan tí ó lómi jẹ́ mi nù. Yàsàgádà yàrá gàdà yàsàbùkì. Ọlọ́run àrùkù ọjọ́ ọba gbogbo wa tí wá sí aláàánú kan o.
Ní ọjọ́ kan àwọn ọmọ kan máa ń jalè kan máa ń jí fóònù kan máa ń jí báàgì wọ́n lọ jalè àwọn ọlọ́pàá wa wọ́n wá bọ́ọ̀sì bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n wá kó gbogbo wa wọ́n wá kó wa lọ police station àwọn fámìlì àwọn yòókù àwọn fámìlì wọn wá bẹ́ẹ̀lì wọn èmi nìkan ló kù mí yọ nìkan wá bẹ́ẹ̀lì mi kó tó di pé yọ ṣe gún wa wá bẹ́ẹ̀lì mi.
Ayé mi bọ́lá fún ọ Jésù.
Gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ ṣàánú mi bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ sùn bẹ́ẹ̀ kàwé bẹ́ẹ̀ di dọ́tọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ di pírẹ́dísínẹ́ẹ̀tì gbogbo Nàìjíríà ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ ṣàánú mi ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ìjọ Nàìjíríà yóò ṣe ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nínú ẹ ṣàánú mi o ẹ bá fọwọ́ kun ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ ṣàánú mi.
Gbogbo ìgbìyànjú gbogbo eré la sá láti make sure wípé a rí ìyá ọmọdékùnrin yìí agbábí tó ti ń ṣe iṣẹ́ aṣẹ́wó lọ a pàdé arábìnrin kan bẹ̀ tí ó jẹ́ kó yé wa pé ọ̀rẹ́ òun ni ṣùgbọ́n ọdún yìí ló pé ọdún karùn-ún tí òun ti fi ojú kan gbẹ̀yìn tí ń já sí wípé lẹ́yìn ọdún karùn-ún yẹn òun bá a pé ó ti ya wèrè which is òun ti bá a pé ó ti ya wèrè ṣùgbọ́n sì dóhùn wèrè kẹ̀ ó dà níṣó ń bẹ̀ àlábá kò sí rìn lábá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní wá wèrè káàkiri gbogbo ẹni tá a rí ń jọ́ náà gbogbo wèrè tá a rí kò sí ẹni tó jọ ìyá ọmọdékùnrin yìí ń bẹ̀ lábá padà sọ́dọ̀ àwọn ọlọ́pàá tọ ẹ̀yin ọlọ́pàá ẹ dákun ẹ yọ̀ǹda ọmọ yìí fún wa a fẹ́ adopt ẹ̀ tọ́ ọlọ́pàá ní tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ kan lẹ́ni láti gbé a dẹ̀ tún dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo àwọn ọlọ́pàá yẹn torí pé wọ́n jẹ́wọ́ ọmọ Nàìjíríà rere wọ́n tọ́jú ọmọ náà dáadáa wọ́n raṣọ fún un wọ́n ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ wọ́n ń fún un lóúnjẹ wọ́n ní àwọn ò bá ti máa arrest ẹ̀ kò bá ti máa sí lọ́dọ̀ àwọn torí pé òfin ò gba irú ọmọ kékeré báyìí láti jẹ́ káwọn arrest ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ò rí àwọn òbí tó lè wá claim ẹ̀ láti gbà yẹn tó fà á tí àwọn fi detain ẹ̀ táwọn ń tọ́jú ẹ̀ wọ́n ní ká tọwọ́ bá àwọn ìwé kan ká lọ àwọn court kan adébẹ̀ wọ́n fi ọmọ náà wọ́n yọ̀ǹda rẹ̀ fún wa pé ká máa mú un lọ lọ́wọ́ báyìí adopt ọmọ náà gbogbo alámọ̀kan tí wọ́n ń pè ní adoption kì í ṣiṣẹ́ kékeré gbogbo agbára tí Ọlọ́run bá fún mi láti make sure wípé ọmọ yìí dé gbogbo ibi tó yẹ kó dé ilé ayé rẹ̀ gbogbo agbára náà ni màá sà pàápàá jùlọ ká mú lọ sí boarding school kó lọ máa bá ẹ̀kọ́ rẹ̀ lọ ṣùgbọ́n mi ò lè dá ṣe màá fẹ́ kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ní aláàánú tẹ́ ń wò mí màá fẹ́ kẹ́yin náà ó nípa nínú ìgbésí ayé ọmọdékùnrin yìí ipa dáadáa ipa rẹ̀ tó jásí pé tó bá dọ̀la kò ní gbàgbé ẹnìkankan wa.
That is Nigeria 2023. I was shedding tears working on that video clip. I am going to contact the Sheikh because this story is an extraordinary story. And you know one thing I'm going to say? Irú ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tó wá nípasẹ̀ bó ṣe wá yẹn, irú wọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá ni. Ó dẹ̀ ní reason bí Ọlọ́run ṣe kọ́ pé bí ọmọ yẹn bó ṣe máa wá sí ilé ayé rẹ̀. Now, there's no possibility pé bó ṣe lè trace gbogbo àwọn ọkùnrin tí ó jẹ́ customer màmá ẹ̀ ní time náà because ìyá gangan náà ò sí ní ilé ayé ìyá náà òun náà ó ti kú báyìí. So kò sí possibility bí wọ́n ṣe lè carry out DNA test. Ọkùnrin mélòó náà fẹ́ lọ carry out DNA test ní ara ẹ̀ láti ascertain pé ẹ̀jẹ̀ ni ọmọ yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n bí mo ti ṣe ń wo àwòrán yẹn tí mo dẹ̀ ń ṣiṣẹ́ ní orí fídíò náà, Ọlọ́run á bá mi kẹ́ Sheikh yẹn. Ṣẹ́rí kò ń ṣe gbogbo mùsùlùmí ló bàdó, kò ń ṣe gbogbo mùsùlùmí ni wá wọn ò dá o. Mùsùlùmí kan nìyẹn o. Òótọ́ ni pẹ̀lú bí situation Nàìjíríà ṣe wà báyìí òun nìkan ò lè dá ṣe. Ṣé àwa mọyì ọmọ tí Sheikh yẹn gangan ní fúnra ẹ̀ ni? Àwa mọrú bí inú ilé àbí bùkátà ẹ̀ bó ṣe tó ni. Ṣé rí ọmọ yẹn bí mo ti ṣe ń wò ó máa jẹ́ èèyàn ńlá, like it or not. Èèyàn ńlá ni because Ọlọ́run máa ń raise nǹkan out of nothing. Ọmọ ológo dẹ̀ ni ọmọ yẹn. Ọmọ yẹn ní ògo ní ara. Ṣùgbọ́n àdúrà tí èmi máa gbà fún ni pé kí àwọn ayé kan má pa ògo mọ́ ọmọ yẹn ní ara. It is so sad pẹ̀lú bí Nàìjíríà ṣe ní owó tó kí Nàìjíríà má ní social welfare láti fi cater fún irú àwọn ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀. You see, in my own time, there was a school called Atundaolu. That school was specifically established to cater for disabled children. Atundaolu school, but it was 100% funded by the government. Because Atundaolu school wọ́n tún ní school van tó lọ ń pick àwọn ọmọ yẹn tó dẹ̀ máa drop wọn káàkiri gbogbo ilé wọn. ní àárín Èkó yẹn. Kí ni nǹkan tí wọ́n ṣe right ní gbogbo time yẹn? Owó tó dẹ̀ wá ń sìn kò sí ní gbogbo ìgbà yẹn. Irú ọmọdé responsibility state ni, àìmọye wọn tó dẹ̀ pọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Nigerian government wọn dẹ̀ mọ́rú nǹkan oore tí Ọlọ́run fẹ́ lu ọmọ yẹn fún. Ó lè jẹ́ pé ọmọ tó máa tún gbé ògo Nàìjíríà tàn káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé nìyẹn. Tí Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n dẹ̀ fẹ́ pa ògo mọ́ ní ara. It does not matter bó ti ṣe wá sílé ayé. It does not matter. So long as tó ti jẹ́ pé ó need the help from social security to quit Nigeria, none, nil. That's why Timoshe saw, I've been saying it, there are some people, they are dying to have this information. That's why I said, like, follow us, subscribe, and then share the live stream. Now, as opposed to that one video, video eléyìí kí n gbé wá fún yín kẹ́ tó wá wo ìyàtọ̀ nínú eléyìí. Àwọn ọmọ olówó Àbújá tó jí owó Nàìjíríà bí wọ́n ṣe ń live at large. Sherry, it is too extreme, and I cannot figure it out, or I just don't know exactly what to say. Ewo only.
Hey, Abba. Naya young, bad guy. Watch you. How you going? He's going, man.
Rich kids of Abuja government looters. That is how their father, their parents, that looted Nigeria treasury dry. That is how large their children lives in Abuja. And then where the state funds were supposed to go, such as helping the poor lad that was born into prostitution, whose mother abandoned him with an alaja to take care of, so that maybe I know exactly what must have been going through the mother's head as a prostitute. Obviously, she won't be able to do that as the child is with her. So she will need to keep the child somewhere and then work and then pay somebody to look after. I'm sure that was everything, but maybe everything went the other way around. Who knows? Maybe after the boy was delivered, the mother entered into a depression, postnatal depression, and there was no care to help with the situation. That is how terrible. Look, this is just this boy that we've just played the tape. Can't be more than 5 years, max 6. It is a shame on those that ruled Nigeria heartlessly. Ìdájọ́ Ọlọ́run ó dẹ̀ máa dé bá oníkálukú wa. A ṣe dáadáa o, a ṣe dáadáa o, gbogbo wa máa gba ìdájọ́ wa. Yes, we have been on for 2 hours and almost coming to 32 minutes. Let's try and bring tonight's show to an end. The time currently in London is 20:47. We've started with our new series, The Bleeding Edge 2023, and this is episode 001. We're going to carry on because I see that Nigeria will continue to bleed, and we will again start outlining those bleeding stuff for you. Now, before we bring the stream to an end, many northerners are part of banditry business, so says Metawale. So Minister of State for Defense Bello Matawale has said that conflict entrepreneurs, did you hear that? Conflict entrepreneurs were responsible for unending banditry in the Northwest. Now, this man said that in Abuja. He said banditry, a whole minister, a Fulani minister, said banditry has its economy, which is fueling the crime in the country. Conflict entrepreneurs don't want insecurity to finish in this country. Many people in the North are part of the banditry business, according to him. And for him, he said, and I quote, I call it business now because those selling drugs are part of it. Those selling food, fuel, and other essentials are part of the banditry business. Okay, I looked at that. The bandits, they'll collect their ransoms. They spend part of the ransom on drugs. They need to eat, so those selling food will have to supply them food in exchange for money. And fuel, well, at least vehicular motor will have to transport all those essentials. So they are all part of the gang in the banditry business. Now, again, he said the informants get a lot from doing that. So for an informant to inform the banditry gangs, informants too, they get their own share. And according to that information, informants are paid handsomely for their crime. So we've got informants embedded. So they don't want, according to him, all these sets of people, they don't want that evil to finish. So far so good. He claimed many people in Nigeria have keyed into the business. They've keyed themselves into the business. He explained that during his tenure as governor of Zamfara State, he observed that when a bottle of Coke was sold for 100 naira in the city, some people sold it for as much as 500 naira to bandits in their enclaves. Do you hear that? A bottle of Coke sold in the city in Zamfara State for 100 naira. Because they are bandits and they are collecting money ransomly, some people will sell it to them at 500 naira in their own enclaves. Also, when a bag of rice was sold for between 18,000 naira and 21,000, when it gets to the enclave of the bandits, it goes for as much as 80,000 naira. So Matawale then said that security was a collective responsibility for all Nigerians. He then urged all to put their differences aside and then team up to fight it. Team up to fight what? He said, we hope that with your prayers, with you people's prayers, we can be able to achieve much through many actions that I know are going to be taken. Prayers. Who is going to pray? Who is going to pray? Tamboroba. See, he is now pulling strings to say we need a non-kinetic approach. He said he was in the House of Representatives when amnesty was granted to the Niger Delta militants, which was meant for the Niger Delta militants to stop carbon deregulation and other criminal activities in the region. But they tend to forget that Niger Delta militants came out because they were being robbed of their resources. It was only Umaru Yar'Adua that tried as much as possible to solve the problem. Niger Delta militants, they are agitating for what rightfully belongs to them. He tailored bandits like armed robbers. He said they're just normal criminals like armed robbers. These are the people ruling you. Yeah. Party chairman in Anambra shot dead ahead of that rerun election. Chief Joe Moghalu, that one kaput, shot dead. See, with 540,308 votes, Uzodinma, you remember, won Imo Goba election. Is returned. They don't have any hope. No hope for the people. I thought Biafrans said there won't be no elections in Biafra land. Now let's come to Kogi State. With 446,237 votes, Ododo APC candidate won the Kogi Guba election. Ajaka came second with 259,052. Malayi came third with 46,362. The same thing is in Bayelsa State. Okay, let's now come to the ruling class in Nigeria. This ruling class are fantastically corrupt public officers and the economy of Nigeria. We have to look at that. The catalogs of lootings in Nigeria. And I think this was an investigation that's been done by Femi Falana son. How corruption under PDP became child's play under APC, according to him. So Falana argued globally, subsidies, whether for food, transportation, energy, or housing, are part of good governance. Yes, it is true. So the issue is not subsidies, but who benefits from subsidy. In Nigeria, subsidies are primarily meant for the rich, by the rich, and for the rich. Falana highlighted a few. How the rich are being manipulated, and how huge sums of money can be recovered, not just for the subsidized fuel, but also to provide funds for development. Number one, the diversion of 40 billion naira from the Federation account. Listen to this. A company called Continental Transfer Technique had been hired by the Ministry of Interior to collect the combined expatriate residence permit and alien card, CERPAC. The fees is about $2,000 per annum for every expatriate in Nigeria. We're talking about diversion of 40 billion naira from the Federation account. The revenue from 2019 came to an average of 40 billion naira per annum. This collection, which violates section 162 of the Constitution and provisions of the Immigration Act 2015, is then shared on percentages of federal government, 30 Interior Ministry, 7 Immigration Service, and Continental Transfer Technique, 58%. Now, lawyer Falana challenged this illegality at the Federal High Court and won the case. The court directed the Nigerian Immigration Service to collect the funds henceforth and remit the same to the Federation account. However, the contractor and the federal government appealed against the judgment and have continued to share the 40 billion naira per annum. 2. Additional revenue of $1.5 billion payable to the Federation account. In the same July 2015, lawyer Femi Falana, barrister Femi Falana, drew the attention of the federal government to the fact that the 15-year fiscal incentives given to the oil and gas companies operating under the Deep Shore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contracts Act had expired in 2014. When the federal government ignored Femi Falana's chamber's request, Falana drafted a bill for the amendment of the law. The bill was then adopted and sponsored by Senator T. Orji. The bill scaled through the first reading in the Senate, but was not passed before the dissolution of the 8th Assembly. However, the same bill was modified and passed by both houses of the 9th National Assembly and assented to by fake dodgy Buhari on November 4, 2019. In justifying the passage of this bill, Senate President at the time, Ahmed Lawan, announced that the new law would increase the revenue of the nation by not less than $1.5 billion per annum. 3. Outstanding royalties of $62 billion. In campaigning for the amendment of the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Act, Femi Falana requested the federal government to collect outstanding royalties payable by the international oil companies under the act. The Nigerian federal government admitted that the country had lost a whopping sum of $60 billion. But Femi Falana's demand for the collection of the huge fund was ignored. The governments of Rivers State, Akwa Ibom and Bayelsa states then approached the Supreme Court, which on the 28th of October 2018 ordered the federal government to collect the royalties for the past 18 years. The federal government confirmed that the outstanding royalty withheld by the IOCs is $62 billion, but has refused to collect it. Now, the term IOC is indicator of compromise, and in Nigeria, IOC is a forensic term that refers to the evidence on a device that points out to a security breach. Now, it's going to get worse. The fourth one: federal government of Nigeria denied revenue of $500 billion, $500 million by a group of corrupt public officials. Did you hear that? Federal government denied revenue of $500 billion. Now, the International Cargo Tracking Node Scheme to protect international shipping and prevent the movement of dangerous cargo and arms shipment was introduced in Nigeria in 2010 via an agreement between the Nigerian Port Authority and TPMS. TPMS is an abbreviation for Transport and Port Management Systems Limited, and this company is a private company. March 2023, an Ikeja Special Offences Court imposed 100 million naira fine on the Transport and Port Management System Limited, TPMS, for stealing 29 million euros. 29 million euros from the Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA. The money was the proceeds of collection from the cargo tracking note, CTN, by the NPA between December 2009 and November 2011, when it was suspended by the federal government. TPMS was Nigeria Ports Authority collecting agent for the CTN, cargo tracking note. So in other words, Transport and Port Management System Limited, TPMS, was NPA's, Nigerian Ports Authority's collecting agent for the cargo tracking note. Okay. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had arraigned the owner of the company, TPMS, the name, the late Jean Kodo, on December 13, 2019, alongside the company on an 8-count charge bordering on stealing 29 million euros from the Nigerian Ports Authority. John Kodo, according to this investigation, had pleaded not guilty. Now, because at the next hearing, Justice Mojisola Dada struck out the late Kodo's name from the charge, obviously after his death. Dada then held that the prosecution effectively proved the charges. So, Justice Mojisola Dada consequently convicted the company, TPMS. The judge, Justice Mojisola Dada, ordered the company to pay the 100 million naira within 7 days of the judgment, or be wound up and all its asset forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. The court also ordered the company to return the sum of 17.6 million euros to NPA. You remember, it was 29 million euros. Barely a year later, listen, barely a year later, the agreement was suspended. When Barrister Femi Falana's attention was drawn to the illegal suspension of the cargo tracking note system, the senior advocate protested and the suspension was lifted on May 28, 2015. Guess what? Only to be suspended again in 2016. In 2022, the fake dodgy latex President Buhari issued an executive order that authorized a company to operate the cargo tracking note. However, 5 companies sponsored by top government functionaries overruled the president and hijacked the contract. Now, the company that won the contract has since sued the federal government at the Federal High Court. Meanwhile, Nigeria has lost at least $500 million US, while the security of the nation has been compromised by a bunch of corrupt public officials. to carry on with this. In the Bleeding Edge, episode 002. Just to save time, and for those who may wish to watch the live stream again, as we are fast approaching 3 hours of streaming, exactly 2 hours and 55 minutes. Exactly. Now, if this is your first time watching the live stream or you're joining us now, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it, and follow us from wherever of the pages. I'm still yours as we bring this stream to an end today, episode 001 of the Bleeding Edge 2003. Watch out, just click those buttons so that when I am live, you will be alerted and you'll know that yes, we're coming back again. Christmas is fast approaching. The year is fast coming to an end. Until next time, I wish you love, I wish you God's blessing, and I wish you a blessed week ahead. Share the stream and we bring that stream to an end. Until next time, probably tomorrow, probably Wednesday. Maybe I should just make it Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then Sundays, so that we round up everything. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you. Good luck. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.